folks, so Szeto here again. If you recall last week or a few weeks ago now, I put out a video with Joan Barrett and Ted Morse over at Bear Mountain Boats. I was actually over there picking up a kit to build a canoe, and this week I'm actually going to kind of do an unboxing of sorts of that particular kit, and then also build the Strongback, which is going to be the foundation to put the canoe on, or basically build out the canoe on top of. So yeah, so I basically first of all wanted to break down what the kit kind of essentially consisted of. I ended up paying actually 2,700 Canadian for the kit, and the kit itself included. So it included in this pile of wood the Western Red Cedar, 17 feet long beaded and cove, stock for stems as well, and then also the wood for the gunnels as well. And it included a ton of fiberglass, approximately 60 inches of fiberglass. It included machine caned seats. There's also the carrying yoke. Canoe Craft by Ted Morse. I actually got him to sign this version, which was pretty cool. It included a ton of West System epoxy. So not pictured here are also the plans for the canoe itself, and then the DVD that has Nick Offerman building out a full canoe, and that's an incredible reference. So yeah, I paid approximately $2,700 for the entire kit. I ended up going over to Westport, meeting Joan and Ted, and being able to pick that up from them. Doing a quick analysis actually online and comparing it to Noah's Marine, which is another company in Ontario that sells these kits, and also in upstate New York. It looks like they would have sold a kit for about $1,600. Now that doesn't include the plans. The plans would have been an extra $100. The taxes on that would come up to $200. My $2,700 included the taxes already. And then it also doesn't include the shipping price, and I don't know what shipping would have cost. It says it would have been shipped by truck, so I'm assuming, let's say, it cost another $100 to $200. So I ended up paying, approximately an extra $700. But for the chance to meet and support folks like Joan and Ted, Ted who wrote Canoe Craft itself, that was really important for me to be able to, it was really cool for me to be able to spend the afternoon with them, see what they're building, connect with them on that personal level, and support the folks who basically, wrote the book on how to make these things. And so now to the Strongback build. For the Strongback, I ended up picking up two pieces of MDF. They were 97 inches by 49 inches. So inside Canoe Craft was actually a pretty detailed cut list. So after double checking this list and actually visualizing the cuts in my notebook, I proceeded to make the cuts on a table saw and also on the chop saw. I had a buddy help me with the table saw, and on the chop saw, because there were so many consecutive cuts that were at a specific length, like 8 inches for a bunch of the pieces that go inside the box and things like that. I actually ended up making this particular jig, building a jig that would keep those particular pieces consistent, just so that, there weren't weird gaps anywhere or anything like that. So after making the cuts, I stayed in Canoe Craft. My first sheet of MDF then looked like this, and then my second sheet became this. One big thing in this particular build, I found myself going back and forth between the DVD and Canoe Craft multiple times before actually, reattempting and doing things on this particular build. So with the cuts made, I then went to putting together my box beams. And there were essentially 3 individual box beams, 2 8-foot sections, and another section that fit in between those 8-foot sections, attaching them. And I put them together at the wood shop because I have the best set of tools there. But of course, a 16-foot beam wouldn't fit in my car, and I'm also not building my canoe at the wood shop, so I just simply assembled it according to Canoe Craft at the wood shop in the 3 different sections. Once they were built according to Canoe Craft, I then transported them into my basement where I was going to be building the rest of the canoe. The first thing in the basement was actually just checking to ensure that most of the ground was level, and actually everything was pretty on the money and everything was pretty level. So that was a great thing going into this particular build. So to build the Strongback, or to put together the main section of the Strongback, I actually clamped 3 box beams together first and foremost. And then from there, I just did a double check with the string technique, where you essentially tie up a string, you put a piece of wood on one edge and the piece of wood on the other edge, and you kind of run the same thickness of wood across the beam to ensure that you're level before assembling the whole box beam. With the top of the Strongback built, I then took the rest of my cuts, which were some of the 20-inch long and 24-inch long MDF sheets, and assembled them together by first of all clamping them, and then once they were clamped together in the structures that were stated in Canoe Craft, I would then of course drill them all together. And then, yeah, suddenly I had legs for this Strongback. So after finishing the legs, I was pretty much finished my Strongback. And from there, I'm actually ready to take on the rest of this build of my canoe. So some major lessons learned. If I were to do all over again, this particular part anyways, I think I probably would have used particle board or plywood instead of MDF. The MDF itself was just a little weird to work with. I found that it made weird dust everywhere and it wasn't as friendly just in general. Particle board is also cheaper, and I think I made the molds out of particle board. It's probably a better wood to have used in the first place, and it would have been cheaper. And then now that I'm getting into the build itself, after having talked to a couple other canoe builders on Instagram and things like that, and finding out for myself, is that you end up referring to the book quite a bit, but also the DVD. I ended up watching sections over and over again before actually attempting them myself, and so that's really helpful. And so I'm hoping that these particular videos can also serve as a bit of a reference guide as well, alongside the book and alongside Nick Offerman's DVD. So that's highly recommended. If you go with somebody like Noah's Marine, I don't think the DVD is included, so it's something that's worthwhile checking and also picking up if it's not included if you're going that route. And then finally, honestly, the lighting. Sorry, the lighting isn't that great in these particular videos. It was my first time kind of assembling something in a pretty dark and dungy basement, and in retrospect, I'm going to have a lot more lights for future productions, so the production quality of this all will hopefully go up, so bear with me. The mold section is going to be next, and then from there we're going to be planking and all that good stuff. So thanks a lot for tuning in, and yeah, let's hope I can somehow pull this off. Take care. Thank you.